Did you know that moving house is one of the most stressful things a human being can do? And research actually confirms that. But moving internationally, that is a whole other level. And if you're an expat mom and you just heard that and your first thought was, tell me something I don't know, stick around because I'm not going to tell you something you don't know, but I am going to talk about something you probably don't talk about much. I'm Angela. I've been an expat for 30 years across 11 different countries. I raised 2 children, repatriated, went through an expat divorce and a cancer diagnosis, and I'm here to talk honestly about it all. We all know about the obvious stress of moving, that moment when you find out and you have that inner struggle or conflict between disappointment because you're leaving a place and you know what moving entails, and excited because, well, you're going to a brand new country and you're going to get to explore a place. Then comes the packing, deciding what goes in the shipment and what goes in the suitcases and what you're going to need in between while traveling. How are we traveling? Are we going to stop anywhere on the way? Are we going to go home to visit family in between? Whose family? Which, by the way, is another stress in itself. And then you arrive. You need to find a new school, a new place to live, a pediatrician, a supermarket, but then you realize that nothing is in your language or you can't find the nappies that you prefer. You've got to help your children make friends, arrange play dates for the little ones, and manage the stress of the older ones. You're navigating your partner's new job and all that comes with that. And then there's the logistics of special needs or learning difficulties in a brand new school. You did your research, but you're just holding your breath until you see if the level of support offered in this school will actually be helpful for your child. Or maybe you just decide to homeschool. Then you remember that your household shipment will take anywhere between 6 to 12 weeks to get there. So you have to figure out how to manage that, particularly in the kitchen. And a lot of this we do alone. And there's more. There's the stuff underneath that obvious stuff, the stuff that doesn't go on any moving checklist, the goodbyes, holding yourself together while you hold everyone else together, hoping it all goes smoothly, watching your children say goodbye to their best friend again, and putting your grief on hold while you nurture theirs, needing a babysitter because your partner's company wants you to attend the welcome event, but you don't feel so comfortable leaving your child with a complete stranger. So you make a decision, and whichever one you decide costs you something. And then the holidays come around. Where do we spend Christmas and summer? Maybe you go home for the summer with the children because that makes more sense because dad can't get the time off work. So for weeks or sometimes even months, the family is split across continents. Then come the impossible decisions, having to choose between attending the funeral or the wedding because you live too far away to travel to both and they're too far apart on the calendar to stay the duration. And when you're away, you start to notice the ordinary things that you miss, not just the big events, but the simple things, the family gatherings, the popping around to your friend's house, being there for the small moments that you will never get back. And then there's the guilt, that constant guilt of knowing that your children don't have a relationship with their grandparents and their aunties and uncles and their cousins that you always imagined they would. You wonder if they're missing out on something, a stable community and that sense of belonging, the kind of rootedness that comes from growing up surrounded by the people who've known you your whole life. But then you try to talk yourself out of that narrative and you remind yourself of what they're gaining and how fantabulous this life is, the travel, the cultures, the language, the global perspective. And that's all true. But some days you can't quite decide which is better. And honestly, you don't have to because it's just not that simple. And then there's always being the new one, always starting again and having to navigate it alone. Because while your partner is off at work with a team of people helping them adjust and learn the ropes, you don't have that. You have to find your own baby group and your own play group and your own mum group and your own activities for your teenager from scratch every single time. And honestly, I'm not even scratching the surface because here come the what ifs. And here's the thing about the what ifs. They're not paranoia. They actually happen. We all know someone. What if your partner gets seriously ill? What if you do? What if one of your children does and you don't understand the healthcare system yet and you're navigating it in a language that you don't understand? Or what if one of you needs treatment at home or in another country? Do you take the children out of school to go with you, or do they stay with the other parent? What if your marriage doesn't survive the expat life and suddenly you're alone in a country that isn't yours, with no stable support network, no career, no financial independence, and children who desperately need you to hold it together? Or because your visa is tied to your ex, you're shipped off back home to a place that's no more familiar to you than anywhere else you've been. And if your partner carries on in the expat life, you have to put your children on a plane to who knows where twice a year. And all of this is a constant nagging in the back of your mind while you're unpacking boxes, while you're smiling at the school gate, while you're trying to sleep at night, and while you're trying to figure out where to get the ingredients for your child's favorite dinner so you can try to make the empty house at least smell like home. And a lot of the time, you're thinking about all this alone. Not many people see the reality of what we deal with to live this so-called adventurous life. And even those who do, they often say, "But you're so resilient." Or they say that about the children. "Don't worry, children are so resilient, they'll be fine." But here's what they don't understand. Resilience is not a badge of honor. Resilience comes from hardship. It comes from having been through something. So yes, expat moms are resilient. And yes, expat children are resilient. But at what cost? There are 4 types of resilience: physical, emotional, social, and mental. And as an expat mom, with every single move, you are rebuilding all 4. And each one comes at its own cost. And nobody talks about the cost. Your body adapts to new climates, a new time zone, a new routine, a new level of exhaustion. Your mind problem solves constantly, navigating systems and schools and healthcare and paperwork in countries that are literally foreign to you. Your emotions absorb everything, yours and everyone else's stuff, while you just keep going. And your entire social network collapses with every move, and you build it over and over again from scratch. And I know what some of you are thinking, because we've all thought it ourselves a million times. Who are we to complain? This is a great life, an adventurous life, a privileged life. And we know what's going on in the world. We've not just seen it on the news, we've been there. We've actually seen it with our own eyes. But here's what I want you to know. Your feelings don't need to earn their place by being the worst thing happening in the world. Struggle is not a competition. And the fact that you feel guilty for feeling it, that just adds to the emotional burden. It's one more thing you're dealing with alone. But you're not alone. What you're feeling is real and actually very common. We just don't talk about it. But you do not have to be ashamed of any of it. And I want you to really hear that last part, because I know you. I am you. I know that you will finish watching this video and go off and make a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and just get on with it. That's what we do. But just for a moment before you do that, I want you to know something from one expat mom to another. I see you. I see you. I see everything you've navigated, everything you've taken on, everything you've rebuilt. And that's not just resilience. That's wisdom. That's experience that most people will never have in a lifetime. You've lived in ways that have earned you an incredible depth of knowledge about the world and about people and about yourself. And that is not nothing. That's actually a lot, and it's all yours. So if any of this resonated with you today, come find us on Raising Change Globally. It's a community for expat and ex-expat mums, and the link is down in the description. And if you know another expat mom or even a family member of an expat mom who really needs to hear this, please share the video with her, because sometimes all we need to know is that there is someone else that gets it too. Thanks for being here wherever you are in the world, and I will see you next time.